All right. Hi, everyone. This is Kara coming back to you from the People's Harm Reduction Alliance and co-founder of the Harm Reduction Doula Collective. I'm going to talk today about what to do in the event of an emergency where your baby is overdosing or choking. This is something that's been requested a lot, and I want to make sure that we have the tools available, and then we're going to discuss some of the ways that this happens afterwards. Ignore Spruce, please. Our little harm reduction doggo. Okay, so we have here our little CPR baby. And say that I notice that my baby is not waking up. They're looking really ash in the face. Their lips are turning blue. I'm kind of in a panic, and there's a potential that baby could have been exposed to an opiate, or so any opiate. Could be fentanyl, could be heroin, could be prescription, could be methadone. And I am like, what do I do? It is okay to Narcan your baby. I want to be very, very clear about this. There's no adverse effects of Narcan in the system. It has no psychoactive impact, no developmental impact. I just recently have had conversations with some of the firefighters about this. There's not a lot of official guidance out just yet on Narcanning children, but all of them unanimously have said in the event of an overdose situation to Narcan a child. Hands down, life-saving, we Narcan immediately. If there's any inclination that their reason for not breathing could be a substance effect. So here's our little baby, and we're noticing that they're not breathing. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to pick up our Narcan, and we're going to make sure that we get it into the nose. Okay, so with babies, this can be hard because their little nasal passages are a lot smaller. So we want to make sure that there's a really small dot, a little opening to that nasal spray that's all pressurized. So it's going to shoot right up into their nose. But we really, really want to be careful and try to stay calm, take a deep breath, make sure our hands aren't shaking, and that dot is lined up with their nostril. And we're going to press the red button on the end to discharge the capsule of Narcan. Okay, keep in mind that this is 4 milligrams of Narcan. So babies are a lot smaller, a lot lighter weight than we are, and we're counteracting maybe a smaller dose, but their little systems are probably going to experience this Narcan quite effectively. It's always good to still have multiple doses, but we want to Narcan them first, then infant CPR. So if they're not breathing, it doesn't matter if they still have a heartbeat. We want to make sure that we start CPR because we want to make sure that we are getting that Narcan and that oxygenated blood moving back around their system. And until we hear a cry, we're going to take the life-saving measures appropriate. So what we're going to do, there's a nipple line right between your baby, and you'll feel their little breastbone right here. CPR is 30 chest compressions. You only want to use 2 fingers. With an adult, you're going to use your whole fist, but with our little babies, we don't need to really push that hard, okay? We just need to make an indent in their chest. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 2 breaths. So we're not going to do a full breath. We're going to do a smaller breath because their lungs are smaller than ours. And we're going to go breathe, breathe. It's okay if you cover their mouth and their nose. In fact, you should. It increases the chance that your breath is going to get into their system. So their little faces are small. We're going Okay, then we're gonna go back to our 30 chest compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Breathe, breathe. Okay, don't do what I'm doing. We're gonna actually seal our mouth all the way around baby's nose and mouth to make sure that we have a seal and the air is going all the way into their lungs. So we're hopefully gonna hear a cry. We're hopefully gonna see baby's chest rise when we blow air in. What we wanna do is have someone or have yourself call 911, say that your baby is unresponsive and not breathing. They will show up immediately, hopefully, because 911 triage is supposed to send out someone to a call if the person is unresponsive and not breathing before anything else. So if this is you're protected by the Good Samaritan Act for calling, and for the person overdosing, obviously they're not going to arrest a baby for potential substance exposure, but we want to make sure that we have a safe space, that we have any drug paraphernalia out of the way, gone, so that there isn't a threat of arrest. Sometimes that's not always possible, but what we really want to make sure in this situation is that baby is okay over anything else. So you're going to continue doing CPR until you get baby to breathe again. If you have not got baby back in breathing and they're still blue or they're still unresponsive and it's been 2 to 3 minutes, we're going to take another dose of Narcan. We're going to line it up with the nose and we're going to blow that capsule. If you do not have nasal Narcan, injectable Narcan will work. We just want to make sure that when we take our syringe and take our vial, that we are see how long our muscling needle is? We do not need to go in that deep. We're not going to take it all the way in. So we're going to drop that dose of the whole dose. Okay, so it's not filling up my entire syringe. We're going to take the air out. And we're going to go right into the baby's bottom. So into the fattiest, muscliest part of their body, we're going to go right into the bottom and we're going to squeeze out that Narcan. Okay, it's going directly into the bloodstream. Again, I just Narcaned my baby. I'm picking up my phone. I'm saying, I'm putting it on speaker. I'm saying my baby is unresponsive and not breathing. I need 911. They're going to send out, hopefully, just the fire department first. You can let them know that you think baby's been exposed to opiates after that, because it's going to help them take over care. And then we're going to initiate CPR again. So remember, 30 and 2. 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Breathe. Breathe. Again, until they come to, or until 2 to 3 minutes has passed and then we're going to give them another dose of Narcan. Okay, so I want to talk about like position. So if you're holding your baby, you're supporting their head. Most importantly, you can use a knee, so that braces them. Their legs will be on the other side of your arm, so you have a support. If there's a chair nearby, if you can squat down, it's hard for me to do it because of the camera angle, but if you get on the floor and you use a knee, or you lay baby down flat on the floor, you're gonna go and do your chest compressions so that you have a solid support for their head, neck, and back while you're doing your chest compressions and breathing. So having the appropriate posture to make sure that you are able to call. Your phone might be on the bed, it might be on a table, you could be down on the floor, like I said, and we're just making sure that we're in the proper position and baby's head, neck, and back are supported to do chest compressions, and that we're have their head in a position where it's supported so that we can give those rescue breaths. Okay, so say there's no indication that baby's been exposed to drugs. So it could be that baby starts choking. They put something in their mouth, they aspirate on like milk, or maybe on their spit up, and air isn't moving into their lungs. So in that case, we can take that rescue stance that we just had, and we're going to flip them over so that they're face down, and we are supporting their chin, their neck, and we're gonna do back blows. So we don't want to go like super heavy. We don't want to hurt them, but we want to put enough force on them that if there's anything in their throat or their mouth, their head's angled down, is ready to come out rather than go back in. And we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna flip them over. So we have a hand supported on the back of their head. We have a hand supporting their neck from the front side and their face, and we're gonna flip them over. And we're gonna give them 5 chest compressions, just like we were doing before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rescue breath. So that will, if it hasn't come out of their mouth, then we're gonna try to blow it into their stomach. Ready? 1, 2. All right, so they're still not breathing, they're still blue, or they're like gasping. We're going to flip them over again. 5 back blows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip them over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blow, blow. Turn them over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, flip them over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blow, blow. All right. So hopefully at this point they've either thrown up, they've expelled whatever was in their throat, or it's been swallowed back down, and you hear a baby start crying and start breathing again on their own. In any instance, is always good to have support people around, or have a phone, or have the ability to call 911 if you need it. Sometimes that isn't always possible. So having any of these skills and knowing what to do is a life-saving measure. It is harm reduction. We're reducing the harm by making sure that we have the knowledge and skills to resuscitate baby in the event that they get a drug poisoning or they start choking. All right, I want to talk about some other harm reduction strategies that are earlier prevention. So how might a baby start overdosing? So, and what might they be overdosing on? So a baby could overdose if, you know, they stick a foil in their mouth, if they get their hands on a drug baggie or something that has drug residue, especially once babies start crawling and moving around, they like to just stick things in their mouth. They're building their antibodies and their immune systems, and a lot of times they do that through introducing new things through their hands, to their nose, to their mouth, to their eyes. if they're up and starting to walk around and you have a methadone carry in your purse, and they're like playing with your keys, they're going through your purse. If they stick it in their mouth, if they puncture it with their teeth, if they drink it, that's overdose potential. Say they're in their car seat and they're in the back of a car and the windows are rolled up, and you've been smoking. And if there's no ventilation for that smoke, there's a potential for overdose there. They could fall asleep in the back of the car, and you may not notice that they're being affected by the smokes. We don't ever want to be smoking around a baby or a young person or a child in general who without distance or ventilation. So not only is it a risk for overdose, it is also a risk for SIDS, combustion cigarette smoking, even having the residue from tobacco smoking on your clothes and holding or feeding baby afterwards has been shown in studies to increase the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. So that's what we refer to as SIDS, and it's impacts their waking reflex, and so they can fall asleep and stop breathing. And that's different than an overdose. Overdose can look similarly though, but it's the physiological impact of overwhelming your nervous system and your neural system with an opiate. So the brain starts shutting down some of the basic functions in order to start preserving the life of other organs. So we want to make sure that we're Narcaning any baby that or any child that we think may have been exposed to an opiate. Narcan works on opiates and something else. So even if they get into a bag of stimulants or something like that, it's very common for street drugs these days to have fentanyl contained in it. If they get into a drug that like meth or into a bag of pills or cocaine, any other like white powders, even if it's a stimulant, that can be really, really hard on baby's nervous system and their heart. So you can also call the poison control line. You can call 911. If you call 911 and they've been exposed to a substance, then they may direct you to the poison control line, or they may dispatch EMS and sometimes, honestly, the police to respond to it to start performing life-saving measures or making sure that the life of the child is not threatened. We want to avoid any of these things by making sure that we have safe storage of our substances. So they're they're away from where baby can reach them. They're not in a drawer that can be opened easily or somewhere where they can fall. We want to make sure that our supplies aren't hanging out on the bed where you might be taking a nap with baby and baby wakes up or sticks something in their mouth, or on the floor where baby could be crawling around or kids could be crawling around. We want to make sure that we're, like I said, not smoking anywhere that there's going to be improper ventilation or you're unable to, where baby could be inhaling the secondhand smoke. There's not really a lot of good research on the effects of secondhand smoke, especially around fentanyl. I know that a lot of us these days are using fentanyl because of its prevalence and its availability, and maybe it's just what you like to use. But the reason being for that is that we can't really put kids in a study and expose them to fentanyl and just kind of like see what happens. So what we're basing our information on child overdoses off is really on 911 calls, and when children have had to receive medical attention or have shown up at the hospital, or a worst case scenario when children have died due to exposure to an opiate. So we know that the information we have around secondhand fentanyl smoke and its impact in adults shows that unless you're really like sitting and camping out in a space that doesn't have proper ventilation, and you're kind of like sitting in that smoke for a long time, it's not really possible to experience secondhand effects of fentanyl smoke, or because of how volatile fentanyl is. It's even more volatile than some of the other substances, like we talk about hotboxing, like weed or whatever. Meth and other drugs that we smoke as well can also become airborne, and they may not be as strong or have the same overdose potential. Their impacts on children are relatively unknown, because we can't really ethically test it. Are there kids that are exposed to smoke and are okay? Yes, but we really don't want to be taking any chances, so it never hurts to have a harm reduction plan. We also understand that if you're using and you don't have anyone else to watch your kid, you are wanting to use when they're like in a pack and play or somewhere safe, where they're not going to crawl off a bed, where they're not going to fall off a couch, where they're not going to be on the floor and potentially sticking something in their mouth that they could choke on, or you know, and a potential like suffocation risk with like blankets or things like that. But we also want to make sure that they're not getting unduly exposed to smoke or other potential hazards. So keeping that in mind, like, do you have windows open? Do you have doors open? Is there somebody that can watch baby? Do you have a safe place that you can go to use, and a safe place for baby to be while you use, so that they're not being exposed to these potential harms? And I know that you might be like, Kara, well, you've said that my substance use may not have like a long-term effect on my child's health outcomes when I was pregnant. So like, why now? So when baby was in your body, when baby was in your uterus, your placenta was filtering out your blood. It was supplying baby with oxygen. It was helping baby breathe and removing toxins from baby, keeping baby alive, keeping baby healthy. So unless you were in a position where you were overdosing or experiencing really significant secondary harms from substances, it's likely that baby was fine, because your body's doing a lot of that work for them. When baby is outside of your body, and it doesn't and your baby doesn't have a placenta to be kind of ridding it of waste, oxygen being supplied to them consistently, then their body's having to work to do all of that for itself. So we just want to be extra careful, because kids get into a lot of things, and it's in a time where you can be really sleep deprived, really overwhelmed. So this is when calling in your people. Part of harm reduction is making sure that you are not alone, that you aren't sitting in stigma, shame, guilt, and most importantly, or equally as importantly, I should say, isolation, because the worst things happen when we're alone and we're not supported. So I hope this is helpful. I love you. Just because you're a parent that uses drugs does not mean you're a bad parent. A drug test is not a parenting test. We know you love your children, and we know that you want to be the best parent possible for them, because you're here and you're watching this video, and we love you. So please reach out. I'm always down to kind of talk about a safety plan and thinking about how we can use harm reduction strategies in parenting. Also share this with anyone else who may be providing care to your baby, or your other children, because we want to make sure that everybody's equipped to respond to an emergency. It shouldn't be yours to carry alone. And the more people that are carrying Narcan, the more people that have access to information and feel confident responding to an overdose scenario, the more lives that we save. So thank you for being here. We love you, and we'll talk soon.